Ares is a wacky little guy who's the god of war, and is primarily a support in Smite 2. Through providing auras, blowing important cooldowns, roasting the enemies, and most importantly, hitting chains, Ares is able to pretty convincingly carry the game, even from the support role. He's a god with some limited utility, his third ability basically not having a use in fights late game. Instead, he's more of a front-loaded, bruiser, fighting kind of support who does a lot of damage. His passive is called Blessed Armaments, and it provides strength and intelligence in an aura around him. While it is a little bit difficult to perceive the effect of the passive in-game, it is a very powerful one in the form of, like, if you buy cooldown rate, you get intelligence, and if you buy protections, you get strength, and you give 50% of those damage stats to your allies in an aura, which can really add up over a team fight. His first ability, Shackles, is his most important ability next to his ultimate. It's a straight line skill shot that travels through walls and minions, linking to the first god you hit. If you hit a god, you can cast it again up to a maximum of 2 other times, and then this slows and cripples the enemies while granting Ares a movement speed buff, and it's a huge brunt of your damage. Like, it's a ton of your damage in your kit, and hitting those chains, it's real important. His second ability, Call to Arms, allows himself and his teammates to become tankier and dish out slightly more damage. When you activate it, it applies another aura to Ares, which buffs himself and allies with increased protections of each type, and it increases the basic attack damage of people in the area. In teamfights especially, the basic attack damage and protections can really add up, and you can't really underestimate what giving 30 additional protections to each of your carries will do. His third ability, Searing Flesh, is interesting in a way that its only form of utility is that it allows Ares to become displacement immune for a second. And aside from that, it really only does damage. The damage does add up rather quickly, and especially in the early game, it deals a lot of damage if you're able to fully channel the ability. And the damage effectiveness does kind of fall off late game, but if you're allowed to chase around a squishy for a while, you are completely capable of killing them in a 1v1. His ult and his most iconic ability, No Escape, chains all enemies around him who aren't already CC immune, and after a short duration, he pulls all the chain targets underneath him, where he slams down on top of them and then stuns them and does a decent amount of damage. Besides the fact that the entire enemy team can go Purification Beads to stop this, and they also have an item that's literally AoE purification beads, you can still tend to blow cooldowns with this and also sometimes even get pulls off, but you're rarely actually pulling anybody with this. But when you do, it's a rush. You have to temper your expectations though, because it's totally fine to use this ult to just hit one person, blow their beads, and then you can come back later and just ult them again, because you know they don't have beads, and your ult is on a lower cooldown than beads, so you can just pull them, and that's basically a free kill because you can let your team know, like, hey, I'm coming back in 50 seconds, and I'm going to slam this guy with an ultimate. When you're support, you can pretty much build whatever you want so long as you're tanky and helpful. You can use the build that I went in this game that I'll have on my channel in a bit, but I'd much rather give you the gift of game knowledge. So go to smite2.live/builds and just steal a pro player's build. You can almost never go wrong with that, even if the build is a little out of date. But with that, please feel free to subscribe to my channel. I'll have Ares gameplay, like I said, soon, if you'd like to learn a little bit more about him. And then please drop a like and a comment or whatever, and have a good day.